We have Dr. Henry Pillai, a philanthropist and the person who set up Birthright, the shelter for unplanned pregnancies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Good morning. Now, maybe you can tell us a little bit, first of all, about Birthright. What is it all about?
Birthright is from the belief that every woman who's pregnant has a right to give birth, and every child that is in the womb has a right to be born.
Right.
So we call it birthright, the right to be birthed.
Okay.
And because this is a global phenomena today where people are not getting married and women are giving birth, then the problems arise as a result.
Well, I mean, in a lot of other parts of the world, it's a personal choice for the mother, but a lot of times in Malaysia and other South Asian countries, it's not a choice, is it?
It's not a choice because of our culture, our traditions. It's a taboo, and they try to hide, but you can't hide it for long.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the mothers that that Birthright works with, how did they get into their situations usually?
Well, we have had them from very young age, even up to the age of 16 to about 25. Most of them are students, and many of them are raped by either their teachers, their friends, boyfriends, and many times it's within the family, incest. And so they would not share it with the public because it embarrasses the family. So a lot of it is hidden. So that's why we keep this residence a very secret place, and we deal with them very privately. And it is for any girl.
So a girl who is in that situation would come to your shelter and get protection, and what exactly would you do for her?
Counseling, advice?
We do, yeah. We begin with counseling, because the first problem is the mother of the child. She is in a trauma state. She's under depression. She even thinks of taking her life. She even thinks of aborting the child. She wonders how to face all the situations. So mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, she's in a stress. And that's not a good situation for the baby that's in the womb. And so we reach out to them, or they reach out to us through the phone, through friends, or they come to the counseling centers that we have, and then the counseling centers will refer them to the home, to Birthright.
Right, okay.
How many cases do you have a month?
Because the girls could come in from the time they're 4 months pregnant and stay right up to 9 months and deliver, sometimes even stay a little bit longer. We have between 2 to 6 of them at any time.
Okay, right.
Let's talk about how real or how big this problem is here. Of course, premarital sex is frowned upon, or is haram.
But it happens.
Yes, it's considered haram in Islam, in Christianity and all that, but it happens, correct. It happens. So that's one of the reasons why, Doctor, it is not talked about, how this problem is swept under the carpet. And even something as simple as sex education, which could help educate and, you know, maybe just reduce this problem.
Well, that's severely lacking in this country, isn't it?
It is severely lacking. But let's talk about the numbers. How big of a problem is it here?
I was told in the city of Kuala Lumpur alone, every month they pick up at least 50 babies, and most of them are already dead. You find them in the toilets, you find them in the garbage cans, or you find them in the drains.
And these are just born?
Just born babies, and very few of them survive. In the city of Kuala Lumpur alone. So that gives you a rough idea how it is in the rest of the country.
Exactly, and these are only the reported cases, the founded cases.
Yeah, these are cases that we find, but there are many we don't.
Yes.
My goodness. All right, well, what's the overall objective, really, of Birthright? I mean, obviously it's to try and... Is it to educate, or is it just to sort of stop the problem, or, I mean...
Well, the problem is already there. We can have education, preventive education. Right now, we are mainly dealing with corrective education. But if we would come with preventive education, which is teaching about sex education, then what we do now is we go into colleges, universities, and we educate the young people about the dangers of these things. So they are aware not to meddle with these things till they are ready.
Yes.
So that helps. But we open it to, we offer our aid to anybody. As long as a girl, we don't see race, we don't see religion, we don't see language. We see sometimes it's local, sometimes even foreigners.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we bring them in and we help them. Rescue both of them.
So aside from just, I mean, the education and the counselling, I know you mentioned some of them stay all the way up until they're actually, the baby's born, and sometimes even beyond that. So what else do you offer the mothers?
Well, firstly we begin with counselling. These are qualified, trained counsellors who are able to, mostly women, doctors, nurses, are able to counsel them in all the areas needed. Then we also give them a place, a temporary shelter. They have a place to stay. Then we also make sure that all their needs are met, all the food, the cleansing, etc. And then there are those that come to counsel them to prepare them for the child,
Right.
how to accept the child. Then what we do is we contact the parents of the child, of the girl, and we reconcile them. And it's usually that's the most difficult time. But so far our experience has been all families, although at the beginning they were pretty upset, but finally they all become very supportive and protective of the child.
How old are the girls who come in?
The girls we have had from 16 right up to 25.
Okay.
And once that is they've reconciled between the family, we encourage the girl to keep the child.
Okay.
But where she cannot, then we encourage them to give the child for adoption. So we come in there as well to find adoptive parents.
So you act as the agent of some sort?
Yes, we only introduce and we leave it to them. And where that does not happen, then only we'll put them in temporary shelter homes or in an orphanage. So far, we have not come to that final stage yet.
Okay, that's good.
But what happens after all this? You know, the daughter goes through all that. You know, do you encourage her, she's still very young, you know, to go back to school, you know, to get a job,
they do.
support herself?
They do. Most of them that come to KL or Selangor are mainly those from out of state.
Yes.
Usually those with problems here will go somewhere else because they want to keep it very confidential.
Right.
That's why we don't advertise the location and we keep it as confidential as possible to protect the child and the mother as well. So once that is done, then we feel that they are more secure. There's no unexpected visitors, nobody to come and intrude. We also try to get the man who made the girl pregnant to marry her.
Right.
But in most cases, it doesn't work.
Yes. How about cases where, you know, there was, unfortunately, a rape involved? Do you encourage the girl to take action? Do you help her go to police, get a lawyer, things like that? We
do all that. Our main goal is not only to help the girl, counseling her, preserving her life, but is also to prevent her from aborting the child.
So I take it you guys have a very anti-abortion view.
Very anti-abortion, because it's life. It conceived, once moment conception takes place, life begins. And so we don't want the child to be killed. Once we have done that, then we leave it to the mother and the parents to decide what they do next. Beyond that, we don't. Because sometimes it's religious problems, they're very sensitive. Others have other opinions. So after that, we let them handle it.
In terms of criteria and stuff, I mean, it's open to all religions, all races?
All. So far, all.
Okay, and if for a woman to be admitted at the centre, what sort of situations, or, I mean, obviously she needs to be in pretty, I think, dire financial need and things like that, right? Are there criterias, or is it just anyone who comes?
No, anyone who comes, if they could support themselves in feeding themselves and paying for the doctor's bills, then they go ahead.
Okay.
Where they can't, then we try to do what we can to help. But sad to say, most of these are students.
Yes.
And they don't have the money. And they do not want to appeal to anybody for help because they feel embarrassed. But families have come in and supported them. Where that has not been possible, then we do what we can to help.
When you say you do what you can, I'm sure there are a lot of funds involved. Is there a way where people can, you know, give donations?